Imagine waking up every day knowing exactly what we were working for, what we were going towards, what we were doing. And it's not because we're just feeling motivated all the time, but it's because we have these systems in place, these drivers driving us, moving us forward, that makes us stronger and that are stronger towards our goals rather than just the feelings. Imagine that you're working on something not just for 1 week, not just for 1 month, not just for when you kind of are feeling like doing it, but every hour, every minute, every second, knowing that the time that you are putting in this is either a deposit or a withdrawal from your goal. You keep growing or you are dying. And that is the difference from setting goals and living for a goal. And that is what we are covering today. We're going to break down the framework that turns a goal from a dream into a daily standard, into actionable insights every day inside our Frenetic Gym at the Athlete's Health. Hey y'all, welcome to the Mental Performance Playbook, where we're breaking down elite mental strategies and delivering these actionable exercises for you to apply immediately. My name is Gabe Rummel, mental performance coach, founder of the Athlete's Health and creator of its Frenetic Gym, where we train your mind just like we train your body. Each week, we focus on mental performance theme that equips athletes, coaches, parents, with these practical tools that you can go apply to build that stronger focus, resilience, confidence, play at your peak, play at your best. Now, this week's theme is goal frameworks, but in a different way, something that we don't always think about, and ones that we can just easily apply that will last 365 days out of the year without a doubt. So without further ado, let's dive deep into these frameworks around 365 days of the year of goals. I want to start this off with our framework number 1 of the North Star climb, right? This revolves around our mountain and stepping stone goals, but specifically we're looking at this as our North Star. And this comes from the fact of the question I was thinking, like, are your goals kind of like a once a month check-in, see what we're doing, how we're doing it, or are they lighting the path, lighting every step for every day, for every action we take? And yeah, I'm talking about it that deep because that's how deep as I often think about this, as we often think about this. We have our goals, and sometimes some people just have that, it's just there. Other times it is what we are hitting on every day. If I'm talking to you, if we talk, I guarantee you somehow, some way, some shape or form, I figure out your goals because it's so important to me. And I feel like it's so important in us figuring out what we're trying to do and where we're trying to go. And that is why this is our North Star board, our North Star goal. And it's just our primary goal, right? It's that mountain. It's that mountaintop. And think about this like a mountain climber, okay? If you're hiking a mountain yourself, there's certain points when you can't see the top of it. You're covered, okay? There's trees blocking your way. You can't see the top, the peak, the summit of the mountain. There's little ones to go, but every step, every little step towards it, we're climbing, moving up, moving forward, finding that North Star and going for it. This is our primary goal, the primary thing that we want to do and what we're working for. Place it in a place where we're going to see it every single day. Your mirror, phone background, locker. This is the one motivator. This is that deep inside thing. This is your North Star, that thing that is moving us forward. Even if it's 1%, end the day by asking, did I climb towards my summit today? Was I reaching towards that North Star? If every day we reach for it, we might end up having a time commitment, like senior year might get here before we know it, and we might not be reaching it. But we're at least working for it, and we're getting a lot farther than what we would have gotten if we were looking at this goal in any other way. And to build off of this, we got to go to our framework number 2, the 24-hour hustle. If you only had 24 hours to work on your goal, how much are you gonna get done? And now I'm not saying every day is going to be like this, but I am saying that sprinters don't save any energy for the next day. They leave it all on the track for that day. Now, of course, we do have day after day after day after day after day, right? But if we're tired, if we're hungry, if we're sore, if we're cold, we don't have to make the decision to quit right then. We can take a little break and come back to it. There's 24 hours, okay? That doesn't mean every single hour we're sprinting, but it means in those 24 hours, we don't need to save any energy as well. Use this daily hour audit of taking just one day. Okay, have one day. Break it into 24 1-hour chunks. Or we can start with 3 or 4, 6-hour chunks. Of course, you're going to sleep for one full chunk. Hopefully, you sleep for a little bit, dabbling into the other chunks. But break these up into smaller days of 6 hours, courtesy of Ed Milet, or into just 24 1-hour chunks. And mark how many hours, and if we want to break it down into the days, per each day so per each 3 6-hour time block. So you think like roughly 3 per time. You got your morning, you got your afternoon, you got your evening. Each one of those 6-hour blocks, we're breaking each one into hours. How many hours are we truly investing towards our goal? If we're working towards that North Star, well, maybe we're going pretty slow, or maybe we're only doing it 1 or 2 hours of the day. But if we break it up like this, and we do at least 1 hour in each 6-hour period, then we know we're at least on track more than what we could have done by taking it just one day, sprinting in that day, and knowing that we don't have to sprint the whole time of the day, but knowing there are 24-hour chunks of that day, and that we can then identify any gaps, any places where we can sneak in some goal building actions, some actions that bring us towards the goal. Maybe we get a few more reps in. Maybe we go down to the basement, to the hardwood, to the cement in the basement, the unfinished basement. We do a few more dribbles. We do a few more passing. We do a few more defensive moves. We do some quick feet shuffling on the floor. Whatever the case is, there's different instances where we can put this in. Maybe we just start thinking about it more, visualizing the game more, studying the film more, but put the 24 hours in there a little bit more with this 24-hour hustle framework number 2. And with the number 3, I want to tie us back to the 3-6-5 mindset. And this is because we're not going to be watched 365 days of the year. And now we just talked about breaking the days down to the hours, right? That's a lot of time that we got on our hands, really, if we think about it like that, for that North Star. People overestimate what they can do in a day, underestimate what they can do in a year. 365 days of those 24 hours in each day, and we're just trying to get to that North Star, find our path to it. Are you willing to show up when no one is watching, when there isn't a trophy being handed to you, when it is those trench times, when it's those hard times, those dirty times? I was hearing from an athlete the other day. I remember a state champion was telling me after they got hurt, their recovery process, 4 a.m. This is a high schooler, okay? Sophomore or so, 4 a.m. every morning. They were working out, sweating buckets in their basement. Their dad would come down and just look at him, like, hearing the noise. He woke up like, what is that? Would go down there, see them working out down there, and be like, just shake his head and go back to sleep. Meanwhile, the kid, the athlete, kept training. This is when no one is seeing you. This is the trenches. This is that night when that North Star is guiding us, when we do look at those 24 hours in a day and squeezing out everything that we can get in it. Okay, farmers plant seeds without immediate harvest. They have to plant it, nurture it, watch it grow, knee high by the 4th of July. They trust the process that it will yield the results they need. So if we have 365 days in the year, I want a 1 a day goal habit, at least one thing that is moving us towards the goal, right? We've talked about that 1% in that North Star framework for breaking down 24-hour chunks. Maybe it's 3 6-hour days, morning, afternoon, night, and then we sleep. Where can we put this in at? And what one extra little habit goal can we make sure we do that day that moves us towards that goal? Now, this has to be a non-negotiable, because there's going to be some bad days. But as some great psychologists have said, we have to make them good bad days. Okay, we can't always have good days. Things are going to happen. It is life. But we have to make them the good bad days, and we have to make sure we can stick to it. This 1 a day goal habit, we do that every day. That's 365 habits. That is at least 365 goals that we hit, striving us steps towards that North Star that we set a while ago. And I got one more framework for us to use for this, keeping this one a little shorter, but so rich in what we can use and take out of it, the actionable exercises to put on top of our physical work that we're already doing. This framework number 4 is grinding without the gimmicks. We think about this stuff and we look at the physical side. We think it's so much work. It's so hard to grind. We gotta grind. We have to push, 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 push. And in a sense, I mean, we do, right? I mean, story after story of, some pretty good athletes going down to the training centers and getting with the new coach. And the very first day, they're puking on the hardwood or puking out in the field because I want to test the limits. I want to see where we're at. Okay. But are we working on that goal, or are we waiting for those perfect conditions, testing this little gimmick here, that little trick there? Or are we just constantly grinding on it, getting better, doing the things that we know that we work, the fundamentals, as we say, the boring stuff, but the stuff that really, really does help. We don't need to wait for that perfect weather if we want to win the championship. To win that championship, you got to battle through the storms, right? And that is what we can do if we are grinding without the gimmicks. Make that no excuse list, right? I like this one because I have a few excuses that I always go back to. I'm always like, oh man, it's late at night, or I'm tired, or I need to eat some food, or I should be doing this with this person. Okay. Top 3 excuses that we usually make. Now, we might not even be able to do this right away. Maybe some of those goals that we talked about for the 24-hour day towards that North Star for the 365 days of the year is going to be to just look at what the excuses are that usually hold us back from actually achieving that step, that 1% on the day, to moving us forward. But whenever we do eventually find those 3 excuses that usually hold us back, make a list of it. Too tired. Don't really feel like it right now. It's raining outside. I can't do it. When we have that list down, arrow over, indent down, make a new page of the counter action for each excuse. How you can get over that excuse. Maybe one of the greatest examples is Michael Phelps. Excuse of, he would just go swim no matter what. He had to go swim. But, you think in swimming, excuse of the goggles getting filled up with water and like, I can't swim, I can't do it. No. Coach, that was one of their excuses. They were at that level, like, okay, what if we get water in our goggles, these state-of-the-art goggles that shouldn't get water in them, and we need to swim, we need to win the race without goggles. How are we going to do it? Well, let's practice it. Goggles off, this practice. Go swim. Sure enough, so that'd be an excuse of why you can't win, because they were at that level of detail. Sure enough, it comes to a race. Goggles get flooded with water, they come off, and he swims. You can look this up. It's a great story to hear from. But this is the grinding without the gimmicks. And it doesn't have to be grinding. It can be sculpting if that's what you want. Instead of grinding the sculpture down, we're sculpting the sculpture up. But grinding without the gimmicks sounds funny. Sounds better. You know what I mean? But ultimately, make sure we're working towards the goals no matter what's happening. We don't need the perfect conditions. They won't really ever come if we're not grinding throughout the storm. Because going through the storm is when we see the rainbow. But it's after the storm has passed and after we have been in the storm. Because if we're hiding from the storm in the basement, we never see the rainbow afterwards, unless you're lucky enough to peep out. Now, I want us to make sure we know that goals are not just wishes. They're not just a hey say, he say thing that we just throw out there. They are daily standards. They are what make us drive, what make us go. If we're like driving somewhere with our parents, with the fam, we have a goal in mind. Everything revolves around these goals. Now, things hold us back, right? We covered that in the last one. Those excuses, they hold us back. And we didn't cover that too much today, saving that for another one, because this one is focusing specifically on how important those goals are, how important we can use them to shift ourselves forward towards that North Star every day, breaking the days down into hours, adding them up, and making sure, just sprinkling in the excuses, making sure we have a counter plan for them so we can use them. Creating these systems, living for our goals, climbing towards that North Star, hustling every hour, carrying the 365 mindset, grinding without the gimmicks, or sculpting ourselves up makes this progress inevitable if we can keep doing this. That is why we have the goals. It's not just about feeling motivated sometimes and not the other times and not doing it. I wasn't really feeling making this podcast before I made it, but it's about building the life, and it's about that climb. It's about summiting the mountains. So if you want to train your mind just like you train your body and build kind of these goal frameworks in a more detailed way, hit me up. We can last 365 days of the year. Check out the Phrenomic Gym and the Athlete's Health. We don't just set goals, we live for them. Peace.